Hello guys, Dilla304 here. Today we're going to be reviewing the iPhone 7. Now, of course, at this point in time, the phone is not new anymore. It's been out for about 6 months, but I've been meaning to do this video and people have been requesting it nonstop, so I just think I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. So how does the 6-month-old iPhone 7 still stack up? We're going to find out right about now, or actually we're just going to, basically all this is going to be is you're going to hear me talk about it for 9-10 minutes probably. Who knows how long this is going to be. Anyway, I say we get right into it. Of course, this is the rose gold iPhone 7. Let me just clear these notifications real quick. But anyway, this is the rose gold iPhone 7, as you may be able to see. My camera's not wanting to focus, but yeah, there it is. I decided to go rose gold this time around instead of gold, so you know I just wanted to be different, basically. Before we even get into the phone, though, I want to talk about the box, because I talked about it in the 6S review, and I want to talk about it in this one. So as you can see, there's a silhouette of the phone on the front. Or actually, it's not a silhouette, it's a picture now. But this time it's the back of the phone instead of the front. So good job for creativity there, Apple. They went back to it saying iPhone, though. Like, I liked when it actually specified what iPhone it was. They did this with the iPhone 6 at first, and I didn't like it. But at least there's still a picture on the front. But, yeah, of course I got the 128 gigabyte variety as well. So, yeah, the box is alright. I guess it doesn't really matter, though, to about 98% of people out there. But, yeah, so let's just take a quick tour around the phone itself. Very similar design to the 6S, with a couple of key changes that I think makes it look a little bit cleaner. But yeah, overall, it's the exact same size as the 6S, and yeah, it's pretty similar. But this time around, we have a new tapered camera hump, which is actually a lot nicer. I never liked the camera hump on the iPhone 6 and 6S, which actually, I can go ahead and grab an iPhone 6 for comparison. I never liked this just because it's a big silo coming out of the phone, pretty much. It doesn't look good. It looks like an afterthought. Never liked it. So I'm glad they went with this tapered look. It makes it look like it's, meant to be there. And yeah, the sensor is also larger, as you may be able to tell, because the camera has been improved. But yeah, other than that, we have new iPhone text on the back in the new San Francisco font. That's another notable change. And of course, the antenna bands have been cleaned up quite a lot. One may remember that there used to be lines going here, and they've since deleted those, and it looks quite a lot cleaner. I really like what they did. Again, compared to the 6 and 6S, this looks a lot cleaner and a lot nicer. So that's nice. Of course, one of the things you may be familiar with the iPhone 7 is the lack of a headphone jack. It made a lot of noise in the media, and for good reason. I mean, it is annoying, and we'll go over that later in the review. But I can live with it personally. Most of the time it's not an issue, but I will talk about that eventually. So, yeah, other than that, let's go ahead and talk about the hardware improvements, I guess. So we still have the same 7000 series aluminum, so the phone is theoretically just as strong as the 6S, which is nice because the 6 was structurally compromised, as we may all know. Another notable thing I really like about the iPhone 7, and this didn't even really... It wasn't even a selling point for me when I bought the phone, but it's really nice, is that now we have stereo speakers. So of course we have one speaker on the right here, and the earpiece is now acting as a speaker. So the sound is really improved. I'm not going to play anything just, for copyright reasons, but just trust me, compared to the old iPhone, the 6S and the 6, and pretty much every other iPhone before it, the stereo speakers sound a lot better. So that's really cool. We, of course... Again, another thing that they changed was we now have a solid-state home button. It's not really a button anymore. It basically just has the Taptic Engine vibrator in it, and then when you push it, it just makes a vibration. Some people don't like this. I personally have gotten used to it, and now when I use an older iPhone with a real button, it kind of feels weird to me. But I actually quite like this change because that's another failure point gone. There's, not a mechanical button to go wrong there. So that's pretty nice. I actually don't mind that at all, one bit. So that's cool. And also, another thing that's really interesting, or really not interesting, but something that they should have done several years ago, is they finally doubled storage across the board. So instead of 16, 64, 128, it is now 32, 128, and 256 at the same price points. So that's really nice. They're about 5 or 6 years too late with the axing the 16 gigabyte, but at least they finally did it, so that's cool. Something also worth mentioning that might matter to you is that the iPhone 7 is now IP67 dust and water resistant, which is nice. No more iPhones being killed by toilets. You know who you are. So that is pretty nice. I haven't tested it yet, obviously, just because I don't, intentionally throw my phone in the water. So yeah, but the phone is now, water resistant, so that is really nice. You shouldn't have to worry about using your phone in the rain or something like that. If you, drop it in the toilet, again, like I said, it's probably not a big deal. You may have to disinfect it, but other than that, the phone should be okay. So that is another feature that one may find worthwhile as, a reason to get this phone. So for the SoC on this bad boy, we're looking at the Apple A10 Fusion, which is Apple's first quad-core chip, but it's a quad-core in that it acts like ARM big dot little cores, which is actually what it's based off of, in that you have 2 high-performance cores and 2 low-performance cores. That runs at 2.2 gigahertz. I believe the smaller cores run a little bit slower to conserve battery life, and the iPhone intelligently switches between them depending on what you're doing, so that's nice. I haven't really noticed any sort of performance degradation or anything like that with any of these, with the switch offs or anything. I haven't even noticed it, so that's nice. We still have the 2 gigabytes of RAM from the previous, iPhone 6s, but again, that's okay. The performance is more than adequate, and I don't feel that an iPhone needs more than 2 gigabytes of RAM. Of course, the 7 Plus actually has 3 gigabytes of RAM, but the regular iPhone 7 does not, which isn't a big deal to me, but it might be to some of you spec heads out there. Of course, the SoC is about 50% faster according to benchmarks versus the A9, and of course the A9 was already a powerhouse of a chip, so they're just raising the bar that much more. Yeah, it's only the current generation of Android phones that are really caught up, as in 2016 and not so much 2015, but definitely 2016, and the phones that are coming out now are just now catching up to the level of fluidity and experience that you get with an iPhone, in my opinion anyway. Some people may feel different, but that's just how I feel about it. Okay, so to demonstrate the performance of the iPhone, I'm going to be playing Real Racing 3. You may be able to hear those stereo speakers, but yeah, we're just going to play a little bit of this race here, just to kind of demonstrate the capability of the phone if you really want to, use it in this manner. So this is pretty cool. As you can see, the graphics are really smooth. We have good frame rates, and of course, things be happening. Keep in mind I haven't played this game in a long time, so that's why I suck. But again, this is just to demonstrate the graphical capabilities and the performance capabilities of this phone. So as you can see, it is pretty cool. It's pretty cool to me, at least, that games like this are capable of running on something that fits in your pocket, because I grew up with really old computers when I was younger, and something like this was just way out of my realm of imagination. Of course, I had a PSP at the time, and that was like mind-boggling to me. So the fact that we can now do this on our phones is pretty cool. But yeah, that's about it for that. I'm just going to end it there. That is just a little bit of a gaming demo on the phone here. So there you go. Okay, so as far as the cameras go on this phone, they have been slightly improved. The rear camera still has the same 12 megapixels as the previous camera, but it now has OIS, which is really nice. Something the regular iPhone 7, or the regular sized iPhone, I should say, never had. And now they finally added it to the smaller iPhone, which is really nice. It definitely helps with taking smooth pictures. So yeah, that's pretty nice. And we also have I believe it's a 7 megapixel front camera now. They kept it at like 1.3 for so long, and then they've just been, raising it ever since. So that's nice. The selfie camera is pretty decent. Of course, we still have that Retina flash, so if you're trying to take a selfie in the dark or something, you can do it. And of course, we also have a quad flash now. Of course, there's I don't really see what the benefit of this is. Apple says for more, color accuracy, but if you're using flash, you really shouldn't expect any color accuracy. But yeah, there is 4 LEDs there now, which I guess is okay. And so now, of course, I just need to demonstrate some pictures. So right now there will be some pictures scrolling through your screen, just a little bit to demonstrate, how the camera is. And I'm actually really happy with this camera. The pictures from it are really nice, I think, from an iPhone perspective. The 6S had an okay camera. It was pretty good, but this year I would say the camera is definitely still excellent, as one would come to expect. So now we get to talk about the fun stuff, which is battery life, because if the phone doesn't get you through the day, then it's really not that great of a phone. So the battery is, I would say it's a little bit improved from the 6S. It is a little larger, which is nice. That was Apple's excuse for removing the headphone jack, that is, but I'm pretty happy with the battery life. Of course, it's not amazing. It doesn't blow anybody out of the water, but it's what you would expect from a brand new iPhone. It's a little bit better than the last one, but it still sometimes doesn't get me through the day. Of course, here's a screenshot from a while ago. I had 29%, and I got about 4.5 hours of usage, which is kind of like screen on time, but not quite the same. And yeah, so this is, I believe, somewhat of an extreme case with Facebook and Messenger and Discord, which are the 3 apps I use on a daily basis. So that is what one might expect as far as the battery life goes on this phone. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this review up with just some words about the headphone jack, and then what I feel, my overall thoughts on the phone, that is. Of course, as you and everybody else knows already, the headphone jack is no more on the iPhone. It's not there anymore. And I don't really understand the motive. At first I was like, oh, this isn't really a big deal, and people are just making a big deal out of something just to make a big deal out of it. But now that I've been put in a situation where I have this phone and I use it every day in a number of different scenarios, I see the light pretty much. I don't really understand the motive for this move, because the phone is not any thinner than the iPhone 6 or 6S that it replaced. They're the same thickness, they're the overall same size. And we have other manufacturers like LG and Samsung putting wireless charging and large capacity batteries and other stuff like that, waterproofing and stuff, and there really isn't an excuse to remove the headphone jack, I feel. So yeah, now what you have to do basically is you either have to take around these lightning earpods, which only work with the iPhone, so you have to carry around a separate pair of headphones just for your phone. These don't work with Macs or anything else, just with iDevices, that is. Or what you can also do is they include this dongle in the box, as you may know, and yeah, you either have to carry this around with your regular headphones or just not listen to music on the go. Now, most of the time this isn't an issue for me. Most of the time I just listen to music in my cars, and in my newer car I just use USB audio. In my older car I use Bluetooth. So yeah, I don't need this dongle like 95% of the time, but I've been in situations where I'm not home and I want to listen to some music and I forgot this stupid dongle and I can't. So that kind of sucks. I don't really understand the move for that. But other than that, the phone, I would say, is definitely 100% better than the iPhone 6S that it replaced. It's definitely an improvement in many regards, and the iPhone 6S was a good phone in its own right. So this is definitely, I would say a worthwhile improvement over the 6S. So that's cool. Basically, I would rate it, say, 8 or a 9 out of 10, just because of the removal of the headphone jack. It makes things a little inconsistent. But overall, it's a well-built, well-performing phone, just like pretty much every other iPhone that came before it, and I'm very happy with it. So that should wrap this up. That was my iPhone 7 review, and if you enjoyed it, drop a comment, leave a like, things like that, and I will see you guys in the next one.